You're standing in front of a client's leadership team. You've presented this exact number 100 times, and someone raises their hand and says, "Wait, didn't we see 22% earlier, not 18?"
And you knew the real number?
I was completely sure I did, so I defended it confidently for almost 4 minutes.
Were you right?
I was not right.
Wait, the professor was wrong and argued about it anyway.
For 4 minutes, in front of the client's entire leadership team, before I'd even become the professor.
Today, the one where Maya finally tells her own story, and the sentence she wishes she'd said instead of "I'm quite sure." Welcome back to English in the Wild. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kim. And I genuinely did not know Maya had a story until about 30 seconds ago.
One real workplace situation broken down into English you can actually use. Today's a little different. The expert is the one who made the mistake this time.
Finally. We've all been through this. Her turn.
We've done tech failing, a typo, not knowing an answer, forgetting a name, running out of time. This one's about being wrong when being right is basically your entire job.
So today, no guest, no professor explaining someone else's story. Maya, you're both today.
Maya, set the scene. Where were you, and what was this presentation?
Years before any of this, I was a research consultant presenting survey results to a retail client's leadership team, 12 people, including their CEO. I'd built the whole deck myself. I knew that data better than anyone in the room, or I thought I did.
What was the actual number?
Customer satisfaction had dropped to 18% dissatisfied. That's what I said. Their VP of operations paused and said, "I thought we saw 22% in the earlier draft."
And you were sure it was 18.
Completely sure. So instead of checking, I explained why 18 was correct. Then I explained it again a different way when he still looked unconvinced.
For 4 minutes.
For 4 minutes. The more he questioned it, the more confident I sounded, which is exactly backwards from what should happen.
So when did you find out you were wrong?
That night, rereading the raw data at my desk, 18% was from the wrong week. I'd pulled last month's number by mistake. The real figure actually was 22.
Oh no.
I had to write a correction email to 12 executives admitting I'd argued for 4 straight minutes about a number I'd read wrong.
Okay, professor mode. Why did you dig in like that instead of just checking?
Because when you're the one who's supposed to know something, being wrong doesn't feel like a small mistake. It feels like proof you don't deserve to be standing there.
So it's not really about the number. It's about what being wrong would say about you.
Exactly. There's a real cost that only shows up for people who are treated as experts. Let's call it the expert tax. The same honest sentence, "Let me check," costs an expert more socially than it costs anyone else in the room. So instead of paying that small cost up front, I paid a much bigger one later, 4 minutes of defending a wrong number, plus an email admitting it to 12 people.
So the confidence wasn't protecting your credibility. It was actually the thing that damaged it.
Right. Nobody in that room needed me to be right immediately. They needed me to be right eventually and honest about the gap in between.
Does the expert tax hit harder for someone presenting in a second language?
Even harder, because your accuracy in the language and your accuracy in the content get tangled together. Getting corrected can feel like 2 failures stacked on top of each other, so the instinct to defend gets even stronger. which is exactly backwards. The correction was never really about my English, or even about the number. It was about whether I could say "let me check" out loud in front of people without feeling smaller for it.
So what should you have said in that room?
Something that separates the number from me, check it, correct it if needed, and let my expertise stay exactly where it was the whole time.
Okay, so what's the actual version you teach now?
3 moves. The ones I wish I'd known standing in that room. Move 1, check before you defend. The moment someone questions a number, pause and actually look. Don't answer from memory a second time. Here's the difference. Bad version, what I actually said, no, I'm quite sure it was 18%. That's what the data showed. Confident, immediate, and wrong.
Confidently wrong is somehow worse than just wrong.
Much worse, it invites people to keep pushing instead of just waiting. Better version, let me double check that before I confirm. Give me 1 second. Same 4 seconds of silence Kai had with his frozen screen, but used on purpose this time.
So the pause isn't weakness. It's actually the professional move.
Exactly. Move 2. Let the number be wrong, not you. If you were wrong, say so plainly. The number was 18 last month. This month it's 22. I misread the date. The mistake belongs to the data, not to your competence.
Isn't that just semantics?
It sounds like semantics, but it changes what the room remembers. I was wrong makes you the story. The figure was outdated makes the figure the story, and you're just the person who caught it.
So you're not hiding the mistake. You're just putting the spotlight on the right thing.
Move 3. Correct where you claimed. If you argued the wrong number in that room, go back to that same room, not just a quiet email, and correct it out loud where everyone heard the original claim.
So the correction has to happen in the same place as the mistake.
Exactly. A quiet fix in private just looks like you're hoping nobody checks. A correction in the open looks like you're someone who checks yourself.
Check before you defend. Let the number be wrong, not you. Correct where you claimed. 3 moves.
And all 3 do one thing. They protect your expertise by protecting your honesty instead of protecting your ego.
Maya, arguing for 4 straight minutes about a number you never actually double-checked. We've talked about traps like this before, haven't we? Is this just a fancier version of the bluff trap?
It's related, but it's not quite the same. The bluff trap is guessing when you don't know. This was different. I thought I knew and defended it anyway when someone gave me a reason to check.
So, the certainty trap? Treating how sure you feel as proof instead of actually checking?
That's exactly it. The certainty trap, and it's a dangerous one because it doesn't feel like a mistake while you're making it. It feels like confidence.
So the more sure you sound, the less likely you are to actually check?
Almost exactly backwards from how it should work. The stronger the pushback, the more it's worth pausing, not less. Being wrong costs you 1 correction. Sounding certain while you're wrong costs you 4 minutes people will remember for years.
You've clearly remembered it for years.
I built an entire teaching career partly around not doing that again. So, yes.
Okay, but move 3, going back and correcting it in front of the same 12 people. Doesn't that make you look worse than just quietly fixing it in an email?
I was thinking the same thing. A public correction feels like it draws way more attention to the mistake.
I used to think that too. It's actually why I sent the quiet email instead of raising it on the next call. It took me a long time to understand why that was backwards. A quiet correction protects you from an awkward moment. A public one protects the group from believing the wrong number for longer than they need to. Only one of those is actually your job.
So the awkward version was actually the more responsible one.
It was. And honestly, nobody in that room remembered my quiet email as clearly as they'd have remembered a clear correction on the call. The email just felt safer. It did less.
So safer for me and better for the room were actually two different choices.
They almost always are. I just didn't know that yet, back then.
Let's practice. Kai, someone questions a number you just gave, and you're actually not sure anymore.
Let me double-check that before I confirm. Give me 1 second.
Clean. Paused instead of defended.
Wait, Maya. What if Kai checks and he actually was right the first time? How do you say that without sounding like you just won an argument?
Great edge case, and it happens more than people expect. Keep it neutral, not triumphant. Good catch to double check. I looked again. It's confirmed at 18%. The checking is the point, not who was right.
So even being right isn't really the win. Having actually checked is.
Exactly. Now, the delivery. Say it like you're genuinely curious to get it right, not like you're stalling for time. Natural speed. Let me double check that before I confirm. Give me 1 second. Slowly. Let me double check that. Give me 1 second.
Let me double-check that. Give me 1 second.
Good. Full speed.
Let me double-check that before I confirm. Give me 1 second.
Kim, your line for the "you were right after all" edge case. Good catch to double check, confirmed at 18%.
Good catch to double check, confirmed at 18%.
Good, just keep good catch light, not sarcastic. That's the part that keeps it neutral. Once more.
Good catch to double check, confirmed at 18%.
There it is. If you remember nothing else, check, don't defend. Last one, the open correction. The figure was outdated. Kai, you first.
The figure was outdated. The current number is 22%.
Kim, your turn.
The figure was outdated. The current number is 22%.
Notice, none of these lines protect an ego. They just protect the truth in the room. That's the whole skill I wish I'd had 12 years ago.
Maya, did the client ever bring up the correction email again?
Once, actually. Their VP of Operations wrote back, "Appreciate the follow-up. That's a bigger deal correction than most people bother sending. Nothing about the 4 minutes, just the email."
So he didn't even mention the arguing.
He never did. I was the only one still thinking about those 4 minutes years later. That correction email is actually still saved on an old laptop somewhere. It was my very first case study, the reason I started collecting all of these traps in the first place, long before any of you were on this show.
So the whole show basically exists because you argued about a spreadsheet for 4 minutes.
Essentially, yes. And that's the real point of today's episode. Nobody remembers the wrong number as long as you do. They remember whether you were still defending it or already fixing it.
Even the professor needed a correction email once. The least you can do is admit you haven't subscribed yet. No 12-person apology required.
And tell us, has an expert ever admitted a mistake to you? What did they actually say?
Comment below with your version of "let me double check that." I promise, mine took a lot longer to learn than 4 seconds. 3 moves from today. First, check before you defend, a pause instead of a second confident guess. Second, let the number be wrong, not you. The mistake belongs to the data, not your competence. Third, Correct where you claimed. Fix it in the same room you got it wrong in, not just quietly somewhere smaller. And the principle behind all three: being wrong costs you 1 correction, sounding certain while you're wrong costs you 4 minutes people remember for years. I spent years teaching other people to check before they defend. It took me one very long 4 minutes to learn it myself.
And the bonus lesson, from a VP who never even brought up the arguing, only the correction. Sometimes the room forgives faster than you do.
That's a lot of words for you were allowed to just say, "Let me check."
Next week, back to Kai. This time, he gets blamed for a missed deadline in a group chat in front of the whole client team for something that genuinely wasn't his fault.
Great. Back to me.
We're going to break down what you say when you're blamed for something unfair, without sounding defensive, and without just taking it quietly either.
Subscribe. Apparently, the professor isn't the only one with a story worth telling.
English in the wild, real English, real situations, real results.